Hello, this is JCoe Saunders, WBO middleweight champion of the world. Subscribe to Sport and Icons to stay in touch with all the top news. God bless you all.
Right, so make sure you go check out the heavyweight, the super welterweight, the welterweight, and of course the super middleweight final rankings of 2018. As I said in those videos, I'm using BoxRec, which is an unbiased ranking system. So on this one, we're going to do middleweight. And some very, very interesting ones that make me raise my eyebrows and go, really? But we'll get into that as time goes on. We're going to concentrate predominantly on the top 10. But again, as always, honourable mentions beforehand. At number 16, Liam Williams. He's predominantly a super welterweight fighter. But last time out, he did fight at middleweight for the British middleweight title, where he defeated Heffron. So he's ranked pretty highly at number 16. So big up to him. We have Vanes Martirosyan. A lot of you guys will know him. Very inactive fighter, by the way. He has fought at 154 pounds before as well as, and he lost to GGG Gennady Golovkin in a fight that most people saying we don't want to see that fight, but had record viewers to be watching that fight. So anyway, Vanes Martirosyan, number 19. Number 21, Luis Arias. For me, Luis Arias, he's a very good fighter, by the way, 18-1. His one loss did come to Daniel Jacobs, where, again, it was a very, very close fight, in my opinion. But then he had a split decision draw against Gabriel Rosado straight after. Personally, I had Rosado winning that one. But, that's not what the judges see. I think Rosado is very, very unlucky when it comes to scorecards. History shows that one. Some other honourable mentions, Gabriel Rosado, as we just said, number 23. Now, when we get into the top half of it, of course, you've got Hassan Ndam. He defeated Martin Murray last weekend. Personally, I think it was a gift decision, to be honest. I thought Martin Murray won that fight, but again, it is what it is. I know who'd be a judge, right? Either way, the Frenchman is at number 12 and number 11, Marek Sulecki. Again, Sulecki, he's made a very decent reputation for himself, especially with that fight with Daniel Jacobs, where some people actually had Sulecki beating Daniel Jacobs. I didn't, but I know a lot of people did. But he has had a fight since and won it by knockout. So we're getting to the top 10 then. So straight at number 10, Rob Brandt, the regular WBA world champion at middleweight, of course. He did defeat Ryota Murata, who's currently ranked at number 14, which again I forgot to mention. And a shock defeat, to be honest. Most people predict Murata to have beaten Rob Brandt. Rob Brandt didn't have a great World Boxing Super Series for Season 1. He got knocked out in the very first round, in the opening round of the tournament, I should say, not the very first round of the fight. But he did lose that one, and he gets a cherry pick against Ryota Murata, who was the regular WBA champion. Most people predicted Murata to win that one, but Rob Brandt turned it on and did very, very well. So he is the champion there. And at number 10, David Lemeiux, number 9. I think he's only there. I mean, he got schooled and embarrassed against JCoe Saunders. And, of course, last time out against Gary "Spike" Sullivan. Again, for me, that was a shock victory. I did not see that knockout coming. We all know that David Lemeiux has a very decent punch on him. But to knock out and become the first person to legitimately knock out Spike Sullivan, that is some achievement. So he's in at number 9. Demetrius Andrade, of course, the world champion, the WBO world champion, defeated that guy from, South Africa, I believe he was, that Walter Katunonkwa, when it's supposed to have been JCoe Saunders. But next time out, he is fighting again soon, in about 2 weeks' time, against Arthur Akavov, again, a former opponent of JCoe Saunders, where most people actually feel that Akavov beat JCoe Saunders, and JCoe Saunders got a gift decision on that one. It is what it is. But anyway, the WBO World Middleweight Champion, Demetrius Andrade, is in at number 8. Hopefully, 2019, we actually get to see that fight between him and JCoe Saunders to settle everything once and for all. Sergey Derevchenko, number 7. Last time out, he did lose for the vacant IBF World Middleweight title to Daniel Jacobs. Both of these guys are in the same gym, the same trainers, all that kind of thing. And it's a very good fight. Daniel Jacobs gets the win in that one. But Derevchenko has a pretty decent position anyway of number 7. Number 6, JCoe Saunders, still undefeated. But again, inactivity is what is costing him positions within BoxRec. they do go against you. They really do, which is why you need to keep active, even if you're just fighting knockoffs. And that's pretty much what he done last time out. He spent the best part of a year out after defeating David Lemeiux, and then fought Charles Adamu, who's a 41-year-old fighter, and made him quit after 4 rounds. So after a year out, he fights this guy and gets a pretty decent ranking, I suppose, at number 6. Personally, I would have him a little higher, but again, inactivity, can't really argue with it. Now, here's a real shocker. Number 5, Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn, former WBO welterweight world champion. He lost out to Terence Crawford after getting that strap against Manny Pacquiao, and then defending it very, very well against Gary Corcoran, but ultimately lost convincingly to Terence Crawford. So it's quite strange to me that they have him in the middleweight rankings rather than the welterweight ones. Of course, he did fight Anthony Mundine last time out, knocked him out. Excellent result for him. Very early doors as well as. It's round number 1, wasn't it? So, yeah, Jeff Horn, number 5 at middleweight. Now, of course, when he did fight Mundine, he was fighting just above the middleweight limit. It was a catchweight between them. So that's why it happened. But will Jeff Horn continue at middleweight? Unlikely. Personally, I think he should be 154. That's just my opinion. But either way, he seems to be carrying some power. So maybe he will continue to be at middleweight. But even so, after defeating Anthony Mundine, they shouldn't have him ranked at number 5 in the middleweight division. I don't think he'd do very well against JCoe Saunders or Devrichenko or Andrade or maybe even David Lemieux. But anyway, be interesting to see if he does. Be very interesting, and I'd love him to prove me wrong. I do like Jeff Horn a lot. Number 4, the IBF middleweight world champion, Daniel Jacobs. Had a very good year this year. He did get potentially a close decision victory this year, but either way, I think that he's done very, very well since he's lost to Triple G, and he's on one hell of a comeback. He is looking to take on maybe a rematch with Triple G or a Canelo next, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Daniel Jacobs gets number 4. Jermall Charlo, number 3. Speaking of him, he got a real gift decision last time out against Korobov. I had Korobov winning, but I can't argue too much. There were some close rounds, of course, and I think round number 12 is pretty much what pinched it for him. But Jermall Charlo, for me, he's a bit of a hype job at the minute. Based on his last performance and potentially the ones before that as well. See, this is where cherry picking goes wrong. If you keep cherry picking and then you finally fight a tough opponent, you get exposed, which is why you should gradually get into it rather than fight cherry pick, and then the big one. Because when you fight the big one, 9 out of 10, you lose. And that's what I think is going to end up happening with Jermall Charlo here. If he was to fight Canelo, a Triple G, or a JCoe Saunders especially, I think he loses. That's my honest opinion. But ultimately, I'd love to see Charlo versus Daniel Jacobs or Charlo versus Andrade. I think Andrade and him have a bit of history, as do Jacobs and Charlo. They have quite a bit of history as well. Hopefully, Eddie Hearn can get those fights done. Hopefully, but I've got a feeling Jermall Charlo don't want none of that smoke. That's my honest opinion. Anyway, he's in a very good position of number 3. Why is he that high after only, was it 3 fights at middleweight? That's because he was previously the IBF super welterweight world champion and undefeated still. Number 2, Triple G Gennady Golovkin lost to Canelo Alvarez last time out. Again, a lot of people felt that he won that fight and he got screwed on both of those cards from the first fight and the rematch. But either way, he's without a title right now, but he's done enough to have a very, very healthy points position lead over everybody else below him, which is why he could afford to take a loss and not lose a position. So he's still ranked at number 2. Is he going to get a third fight with Canelo? I'm sure he'd love that. But for me, I still want to see him take on Jermall Charlo. That's my honest opinion. Or a JCoe Saunders. I still want to see them fights. Saul Canelo Alvarez, number 1. Of course, he's the unified middleweight world champion. What's he going to do next? He will be fighting on May the 5th. They've already booked the stadium along with Triple G Promotions. So does that mean that these guys are going to fight? Not necessarily, but it's certainly looking that way, doesn't it? But ultimately, I know Eddie Hearn is hopefully going to try and get Daniel Jacobs to fight Canelo. Canelo, of course, did fight at super middleweight last time out against Rocky Fielding. Will he stay at super middleweight? Again, time will tell. It really will. So that is the final results. Number 1, Saul Canelo Alvarez. 2, Triple G. 3, Jermall Charlo. 4, Daniel Jacobs. 5, Jeff Horn. 6, Billy Joe Saunders. 7, Sergey Derevchenko. Number 8, Demetrius Andrade. Number 9, David Lemeiux. And number 10, Rob Brandt. Drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.